Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to more Mazda Road to Indy Racing. My name is Tony Laporta. I'm your host of Road to Indy TV. We're down here on pit lane getting ready to kick things off for the first Indy Lights race of the weekend. It is the Cooper Tires Indy Lights Grand Prix of Toronto, presented by Allied Building Products. And I'm lucky to be joined down here by a good friend and a great race car driver, and he's a fast qualifier too, Kyle Kaiser for Uncos Racing. Kyle, putting the green machine on the front row inside here. Tough place here in Toronto. Hopefully you don't have too many cars to pass. It's got to feel good to start up front.
Yeah, starting up front is definitely the goal here. It's a tough track to pass on, so our goal was to qualify on pole, so we got one of the races on pole. Hopefully we can lead the whole thing.
I agree, leading the whole thing. In the book I read about racing, it's a good strategy to stay up front and score the victory. 10th round of the 2017 season, and you're currently in the driver's seat, that championship point leader. And as folks this weekend have been learning, the champion of the Indy Lights Series receives a 3-race ride in the Verizon IndyCar Series, one of those races including the Indianapolis 500. We're not to the end of the year yet, but the pressure is starting to build. How does it feel knowing that's on your shoulders right now?
It's it's pressure. It's got to be pressure. It's closing in. I'm leading the points, so I'm doing everything I can. I'm getting the pole positions. I'm trying to win races. This guy behind me, he's on a hot streak right now. He's won 3 races. He's been really strong at every event. So my goal is to keep him behind me for this race, and hopefully we'll get the pole tomorrow and win that one, and just try to extend our lead as the season comes to a close.
And the guy behind him that he's talking about, the number 26 for Carlin, Matthias Leist. Kyle Kaiser, thanks for always stopping and talk to us. Wish you the best of luck in this one. Go out there and try to have some fun in Toronto, okay?
Always having fun. Thanks, Tony.
Kyle Kaiser, ladies and gentlemen, your pole sitter. We're going to keep on walking here a little bit and have some fun, meeting some more drivers. Matthias Leist, sir, I wasn't in Iowa. You scored the win, though. Congratulations. Your spotter, Chris Wheeler, helped you out. Kyle Kaiser says that you're the man to really worry about the rest of the year. What do you think about that?
Yeah, definitely. He's in a very good position right now, but we've closed the gap quite a lot from the beginning of the year, so I'm pretty happy with our second place now. I think we need to score as much as possible here because this is a street course, my first time ever here, so I'm feeling very excited to this race, but I'm going to think of the championship today.
Matthias Leist, he scored the 2 wins of the year on the oval so far. We're going to keep on moving a little bit farther back. One of the local drivers here from Canada, Zachary Clayman, as he's putting the helmet on. We catch him at the worst possible time. Zach, you look great. I like the headstock. How are you feeling?
Feeling good, just as good as I look, so.
Just as good as he looks. I love that. We're here in the home country this weekend in Toronto. It's not exactly home for you. You're a little bit still farther east, but it's got to be nice racing here in front of a more home crowd than ever before.
Yeah, the atmosphere here is great. There's a lot of fans. I'm really excited to race here. Hopefully I can bring Canada a win and do my best.
All right, now for some simple American like I am, what's the thing I got to do while I'm up here in Canada? What's the experience? What's the most Canadian thing I can do here, eh?
Probably go eat some poutine, but after that you'll definitely have to go to the gym.
Okay, we'll definitely have to go to the gym. Zachary Clayman, thanks so much for that. At this time, we need drivers to your cars. Again, at this time, we need all drivers to your cars. We're getting ready to kick things off for the 10th round of the 2017 Indy Lights Championship presented by Cooper Tires. This weekend, it is the Cooper Tires Indy Lights Grand Prix of Toronto presented by Allied Building Products. You see the full field of cars lining up behind us here on pit road. We are trying to find out who is the king of the streets. We kicked the year off on the street course in St. Petersburg, Florida. Well, just past the halfway point, we're back here on the streets of Toronto. The mean streets, the concrete walls on both sides. We're trying to find out which driver can outlast the competition and stay off those white walls. We're getting ready. Round number 10 of 2017, the Cooper Tires Indy Lights Grand Prix of Toronto, presented by the Allied Building Products. We're getting ready to go racing, folks.
It's a long stretch that leads to that very tight right-handed turn number 3, then a slight kink that is turn number 4 between Ontario Place and BMO Field here. It's a great vantage point, Nick, and we're about to go racing here at these Indy Lights.
Dave, first, how about that view from turn number 5?
Back into the field, making their way through turn 5, a 90-degree left-handed turn as they pass that little kink in turn 4, then an ultra-smooth area of turn 6, 7, and 8. We're located just south of BMO Field, home of the Toronto FC and CFL's Toronto Argonauts, who, by the way, lost Thursday to Winnipeg. couple Canadians, though, trying to make up for that. Dalton Kellett, Zachary Cleveland DeMello here today, Nick.
Here's how they line up. It's Kaiser and Lace on the front row. Clayman DeMello and Kellett in row 2. Urrutia and Pedrojita in row 3. Then you've got Herta, Blackstock, Jamin, Tielitz, Norman DePero, and Rickards. Off of the final corner, green flag. Lace gets a little sideways. That's going to allow the 18 of Kyle Kaiser to get a nice jump into turn number 1. Further back, they'll think about going 3 wide. They will, as Zachary Clayman DeMello slips to the inside of Lace, and he'll grab the second spot. Jake, everyone chasing the points leader and the pole sitter, Kyle Kaiser.
So Kyle Kaiser will try to hold off the hometown kid in the form of Zachary Clayman DeMello, the Canadian just behind him. They're going to go 3 wide. Juan Pedrojita is all of a sudden going to sweep to the outside. That's the battle for the 6th position. Neil Albarico works his way around him. Leaders already today first.
And turn 5 here as Kyle Kaiser makes his way cleanly through, and then that's followed by Zachary Clayman DeMello and Mateus Lace. 2 wide as Colton Herta loses a spot towards the rear end of the field, now making their way through turns 7, 8, and 9.
About the front 5 or 6 have settled out, but about further on back, we're seeing a lot of guys going side by side. Now they'll start to settle in. Davey, that was an interesting start for the guy who's been awful hot and laced. Got sideways there coming in.
Yeah, just, you know, it's so hard to, you know, he had the inside line, which normally it's a pole center coming off the final corner, but in this case, he chose the outside. Got in that throttle, was just a little bit hard, got it sideways, lost some momentum, allowing Clayman DeMello to get by him.
And as a result, Laced is going to be stuck in that 3rd position, and he has seen Clayman DeMello and Kaiser stretch out that advantage quite a bit after the opening lap. It is Kaiser, Clayman DeMello, Laced, Urrutia, and Kellett, the front 5 here on lap 2.
Kaiser with now a sizable advantage. Let's call it 10 car lengths before you go back, and then you get to Clayman DeMello. Urrutia now is all over the wings as he tries to work his way around Mateus Lace. Dave, the battle for 3rd.
Yeah, he's right on the tire track. So the number 26, Mateus Lace, as Urrutia takes a peek to the inside, but then falls back in line. Further back, Garth Rickards now. This field already through turn 5.
That golden black Arrow sponsored car for Velarde Auto Racing running in that 4th position. It is Santi Urrutia, the driver from Uruguay, as he is run down and is trying to catch that 3rd place running car of Mateus Lace as they come back through turns 8, 9, and 10 and on to the front straightaway. Kyle Kaiser leads yet another lap. Again, that best battle, though, Davey, is for 3rd as they head towards turn number 1. Urrutia is going to choose the inside line just a couple car lengths back.
Yeah, tough place right there to pass because the bump's going down into turn 1. Although it is a passing zone, he tried to get down underneath there, but what happens, the car starts bouncing up and down, you're braking, just they want to lock up. The very best passing zone is going to be here in turn 3 coming up.
Urrutia full song, Jake Query looking for the 3rd spot.
Gonna try his way towards the outside, moving into turn number 3, and Lace shuts the door. Urrutia can't get there. That allows Dalton Kellett to peek in on both, Dave.
Tough to pass here through turn 5, although the number 5 of check that. Urrutia tried to make a Urrutia lost a couple spots there, Nick, already through turn 5, heading through that ultra soft portion now through turn 8.
He was able to hold on to that 4th spot, Dave, but that car bounced left and right, trying to get around Mateus Lace. Davey, he's not wanting to waste any time because Dalton Kellett and it looks like Neil Albarico are sitting right there in 5th and 6th, hungry to grab some spots.
Yeah, one thing what Lace is doing is kind of driving in the middle of the racetrack, not leaving a line inside or outside, so it's making it very difficult for Urrutia to come through and try to make that pass. Meanwhile, Kellett's all over the back of him, but for sure, Lace is holding these next 3 guys up.
The Canadian driver Dalton Kellett would love to post a big result here in Toronto. 1st and 2nd already heading towards you, Jake Query. That battle for 3rd rages on with Lace leading that battle.
That's the one we'll keep an eye on. Again, Urrutia with Kellett following behind him, gonna try to close in. Kellett starting to make a move on Urrutia, but Lace holding off both.
Again, we watch this battle for 3rd. Lace cleanly through turn 5 with Urrutia right behind him. Single file as they make their way through turn 5. Double curving here to driver's left, so there's no chance anybody's going to cut off any racetrack here today.
Let's get an update on pit lane from Jim Murphy.
Blackstock sits under an umbrella, his head shaking side to side in frustration. And
stand by, Murph. We've got an accident.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've got an accident. It is Mateus Lace who is nosed into the tire barriers, and while he was sitting there and the rest of the field tried to clear him, it was the 27 of Nico Jamin who caught the rear wing. Davey Laced is popping out of his car. That's the winner of 3 of the last 4 races, and Jamin has brought that car to pit lane.
Well, Lace, as we've seen, was struggling. He's really holding the guys up behind him. And looks, we haven't seen a replay of that yet, but looks like possibly just overcooked it down that corner, just trying to protect his position. But unfortunately got in the tire barrier, then got collected by Jamin.
Boy, you can see the look of frustration on that driver's face as he climbed out of that car. Davey, it's been such a strong last month of the season for Matheus Laced, and he's been good on so many different racetracks. This hurts. He came into this weekend 13 points back of Kyle Kaiser. Going to take a big hit today on this Saturday.
As it shows right now, he's about 30 points back, so big loss for him.
Let's go to pit lane and Rob Howden.
Yeah, big loss as well for Nico Jamin. Remember, 2 wins already this year for the driver who was so strong last year in the Pro Mazda category. He's got a couple of wins already for Jamin, but guys, big damage to the left front of this car. Actually, almost ripped the entire left front off the car. Surprisingly, the front wing, not that much damage. He was almost able to get out of it. The car was obviously turned, just got in the wheel, and I'll tell you, Jim Murphy ripped the left front right off of the car, Nico Jamin.
Well, he's got a problem on the left front. The right rear is the problem for Shelby Blackstock. Broken half shaft. They've got that car disassembled, and they are moving quickly. Well, if there's anything good to be said, the yellow slows the pace down. If he's going to get out there and get any points or move up, this helps his case, but it's a frustrating start to the race. A little bit of a mystery how that can happen so early on in the race.
Yeah, with 4 laps in the books, yeah, if Shelby Blackstock, if they can get that car fixed, he can get back out there. Davey just saw a replay of that 26 car into the tire barriers. No doubt about it, just going in there with a lot of speed, and then, boy, Nico Jamin just couldn't get it woed down.
Yeah, just unexpected come around that corner, and he had the momentum going, and actually kind of popped out in the middle of the racetrack right in the groove, and, man, just you can see he had it turned, it just wasn't turning. So, oh, how close is Herta? Colton Herta was the next one, just so close to getting into that, but made it by.
Yeah, Ryan Norman, Nico DePero also having to kind of hide and duck for cover as a lot of carbon fiber laid down after the accident involving, again, Matheus Laced, who came in to this weekend second in points, and Nico Jamin, who entered this weekend. He was still in the championship hunt as well. He was actually 4th in the points championship, so that's a big hit. Good news, Davey, is with the doubleheader weekend, get an opportunity to fix those cars and go racing tomorrow.
Yeah, like I said earlier, try to keep your cars in one piece, you know. I mean, remember there's another race tomorrow, and it's so important to make sure that you take advantage of both points opportunities. And unfortunately, Laced, you know, he just didn't have a great race car today. It just wasn't doing what he wanted it to, and he was just trying to get too much out of it. And when he got down in that corner, you know, no fault but his own. He just locked the thing up, slid it up there, and just, you know, that's what happened when you try to get more than the car has.
Well, while cleanup continues here on this 11-turn street circuit, let's jump behind the wheel with Canadian driver Dalton Kellett. We asked him a little bit earlier today to describe a lap around this Toronto street circuit.
All right, so going around Toronto here on this bumpy street circuit, you know, corner 1, brake zone's really bumpy. Downshifting, you gotta be really careful to time your downshifts correctly so you don't get locked up going into the corner. Concrete patch at the apex, you know, you might get some understeer, oversteer depending on how your car is set up. And then long run down Lakeshore Boulevard into a hard braking turn 3, down a few gears, and same thing, concrete patch at the apex uphill. So you got some competing factors there. You got understeer from the concrete patch and get some grip from the elevation change. So you get up power nice and early. You just gotta make sure to be really tight. Into turn 5, tricky complex. You know, it's quick in, and then it really tightens up on exit, so you got to be really careful not to bite off more than you can chew there. Turn 6, fast right-hander. Fastest actual corner on the track. As the IndyCar rubber has been laid down, it's really gripped up. You know, that first session was really slippery. In qualifying here, we had a lot of grip, so it was maximizing using the downforce there and getting a good run into turn 8, which this year the brake zone's been repaved, so it's not as bumpy as last year, but it's still challenging because when you transition off the new pavement, you have a really bumpy apex, and that leads right into a dirty, bumpy section of the track, 9, 10, 11, that new complex as of last year. And there, you know, it's really tricky. You gotta be really careful not to get too much understeer going from 9 and set yourself up for turn 10. Because if you're offline there at all, you run down the pitch straight, it's not gonna be good, so you gotta be really careful there.
A big thank you to Toronto's own Dalton Kellett for taking us on a lap around this 11-turn bumpy street course here at Exhibition Place. Full field rundown with 6 laps in the books. Kyle Kaiser's your leader. Zachary Clayman DeMello runs in second. Santi Urrutia is third. Dalton Kellett, the Canadian, runs in the 4th spot. Neil Alberico rounds out the top 5. Juan Pedrohita driving for Team Pelfrey is in 6th. Aaron Tielitz is 7th. Colton Herta is 8th. Ryan Norman runs in the 9th spot. Nico DePero is 10th. Garth Rickards is 11th. Mateus Laced is 12th out of the race. Nico Jamin 13th. It appears he may be done for the day as well. Both of those drivers now 3 laps down, and Shelby Blackstock has yet to answer the bell, has yet to turn a lap here. He is running in the 14th position, sitting in that Bilardi Auto Racing car on pit lane. Davey, 14-car field, and I don't like the way we're trending. We've already lost 3.
Yeah, I think Blackstock may get out. Obviously, we won't be in contention for anything, but they're working very hard to try to get Blackstock out. And by the way, if we get out here soon, he will find himself maybe 12th.
Whoa, Dave, we just had contact coming to the green flag here. It looked like between 4th and 5th, Dalton Kellett and Neil Alberico just ran into each other going through the S's. We'll see if any of those drivers have any damage. It does look like Alberico's got some heavy nose damage.
Sure does.
Green flag is out. The front 3 will streak into turn number 1. This is going to be a little interesting to see if these drivers can keep those cars that may be wounded around this racetrack. Alberico stays to the inside. He's going to get freight trained. The leader, Kyle Kaiser, heads to Jake Query.
And Kaiser has action just behind him. They're going to go side by side. Urrutia being aggressive around the outside, takes Zachary Clayman DeMello, moves Santi Urrutia behind Kyle Kaiser for second.
Yeah, that battle for second now heating up as Urrutia is trying to, now he's in second, you're right. Zachary Clayman DeMello losing a spot as further back single file. Juan Pedrohita trying to move up everyone towards the back after Alberico's issues on the start.
Boy, Colton Herta was banging wheels with Pedrohita. He got awful sideways coming out of that corner. Aaron Tielitz is slotted in between those 2 drivers. A lot of tire smoke, but Davey, a lot of contact as we've gone back racing here in Toronto.
Yeah, a lot of contact, and he's coming in for a new nose wing right now. He just, on that start, just got a little bit aggressive, but Herta had a good restart there. He was at 8th. He's moved himself up by a couple of spots. But wow, how about being aggressive? They're bumping wheels, rubbing side by side, especially going into that little short kink going into turn 5.
Rob Howden, Neil Alberico has brought that damage number 22 to pit lane to your attention.
Yeah, there was some aggressive racing, as you guys said, out of turn 3 over to 4. It was Herta and Pedrohita going side by side into the wall a little bit even. Definitely wing damage. Right side of Alberico's perch, the way the wing drops off the nose, broken. But one key thing I want to bring up as well, not surprising that Bilardi Auto Racing was trying to get Shelby Blackstock back out, get him on the track, get some more seat time here. But remember as well, once Shelby Blackstock gets back on track, that's going to put Mateus Laced down 1 more spot. We're thinking points, of course, for Santi Urrutia and the rest of the team trying to win this championship. So Davey Hamlin, pretty solid deal here to get him back out to move Laced down the order.
Davey just saw a replay of that stack up coming to the green between Urrutia, Kellett, and the 22 of Alberico.
Yeah, what happened there is Kellett actually got into the back of Clayman. I think he got into the back of Clayman DeMello, broke his nose piece, had left Alberico with nowhere to go, ran into the back of him, so just that accordion effect. I don't know if the leader slowed down, kind of checked him up, but boy, they stacked up on each other.
And Kellett's car is wounded. The front nose, big old hole ripped off the front of that car, and he just lost the 4th spot to Colton Herta. So Jake, as they roar out of turn number 2, it has been a disjointed start to this race, to say the least. All good, though, for Kyle Kaiser heading to turn 3.
Kaiser is already into turn number 3. Things have settled down. Great restart there for Colton Herta. He went from 8th all the way up into 4th as we see Aaron Tielitz now get inside of Dalton Kellett. Pedrohita is going to do the same, so Kellett's got some issues. Davey, my question for you is this. When they take the right hand in turn number 3, the inside lane, if you will, of Remembrance Drive that they turn onto is a small patch of concrete versus the black asphalt everywhere else. Herta was able to swing wide and get out of that concrete when he made that move. Is there more grip on the black asphalt as opposed to the natural line of that concrete?
Well, you know, that's a good question, because there is a little bit more grip out there until by tomorrow, with all these cars get out here and really start racing, that concrete will actually rubber up and have really good grip as well, so it makes it a little more challenging. But right now, he took a bit of a gamble to go on that asphalt on the outside. The grip's still good right there, and he was able to pull it off.
Let's hear from the driver who entered this weekend 2nd in points. Mateus Laced is done, and he's standing by with Rob Howden.
Mateus got a great run, a bunch of race wins. A big one, of course, at Iowa Speedway. You're pushing really hard out there. Can you walk us through what happened? First off, are you okay? And then what happened?
Yeah, I'm okay. I exactly don't know what happened. I was just trying to push as hard as I could. was very difficult to drive the car. The car was heavy, and I don't know what happened exactly. I think I missed a little bit of breaking point, and I missed a little bit the apex when got a little bit of understeer and then hit the tires. I think with the rear, and then after the front. Yeah, it's just a shame, you know. We were in a very good position for the championship, and right now it's going to be a little bit more difficult, but doesn't matter. We are still going to fight for the championship, and tomorrow is a new day.
Yeah, I'll get a chance to come back and do it again tomorrow. Good luck.
Yeah, definitely. Tomorrow it's a new day, completely new another one qualifying, and then let's go for the race, and hopefully we can do a podium tomorrow.
Watch it tomorrow.
Sorry?
There he is, guys. Well done.
Well, appreciate it, Rob Howden. Davey, the bad day for Dalton Kellett just got a little bit worse.
Yeah, you know, it knocked the front nose cone off the car, so it didn't affect the nose wings, but there's a big hole that's going to the cockpit, so it's just like a parachute out there. So it changes the handling of the car, the aerodynamics, and the straightaway speed. So he is in pit lane right now, going to change that nose piece.
Dalton Kellett comes to pit lane. Rob Howden, you can see that number 28.
They brought him into pit lane as well. They got some tires laid out as well, like there could be an issue. As I worked my way up here, no, indeed, the crew just going to work, guys, to get that rear wing, front wing changed. As you said, the whole front of that nose pinched off, very similar to what we saw at Ed Jones at the Indianapolis 500. New wing goes on, number 28, Machine Kellett will head back up. But again, an opportunity for guys to continue to move forward as the Canadian driver going to fall down the order.
So to recap, an accident on lap 3 ends the day for both Matthias Lace and Nico Jamin. Shelby Blackstock was not able to see the green flag. He has gotten back onto the racetrack, though, but he is 8 laps down. Dalton Kellett and Neil Alberico run into each other under yellow coming to the green, and as a result, that's 5 of the 14 drivers with problems early, Davey, into this race.
You know who's taking advantage of all that is a guy that has a horrible car, or not horrible, but not what he wants. Didn't qualify well. Looks like maybe, a lot of zigging and zagging across with Clement DeMello and Uritia. Man, there's a bit of blocking there. They may get a little bit of a penalty here, but Colton Herta, back to him. He just taking it easy, cool. He was in 10th place at one point. All the cars in front of him just falling out. He's the guy that's fighting for this championship. Finds himself 3rd in it currently.
Yeah, it's been an interesting start to the day, and Herta is starting to close in on that battle for second. Zachary Clayman DeMello and the 5 of Santa Urrutia have been slugging it out. Those were the 2 cars that you talked about that were zigging and zagging down the back straightaway. They've been fighting tooth and nail for the last couple laps, and that helps, Davey, if you're Colton Herta trying to creep up on this battle.
Yeah, Colton has passed a couple guys legitimately, but most of the people in front of him have just been falling out, so he just takes them easy, and he'll come back tomorrow, fix that race car up to where it handles a little bit better for his liking and be more competitive, but just being a smart drive right now.
Jake Query, you had a bird's eye view for that battle for second. They're going to be heading your way again momentarily, but got awful wild there down the back straightaway.
It's interesting because Kaiser is getting in down through his gearbox a little earlier entering turn 3, but he has that luxury. But Dave, let's take a look at this. Zachary Clayman DeMello right now is holding off Santa Urrutia, but Colton Herta is awfully close to both.
They've gone back and forth. DeMello still leads Urrutia through turn 5, but I tell you what, Colton Herta is making a play in this thing. He started 8th and has taken advantage of a lot of other drivers' miscues, moving all the way to 4th. He looks like a guy that can make a charge here this afternoon.
Those 3 cars are race around the BMO field here in Toronto. It is just a spectacular race course as these drivers. Fun to watch them, Davey, kind of dance around. This is a bumpy racetrack, a lot of character to these street circuits, and as we see an onboard shot there with Dalton Kellett, it is not easy wrestling these cars around.
Yeah, no, and it really is not, and that's a great view. Unfortunately, our listeners can't see what we're talking about, but that steering wheel gets so heavy and it's so rough, it really beats you up, and some of this course is actually, it's really fun. The layout of this course is tremendous, but they could fix a few bumps just to make the passing a little bit easier for these guys.
Back to pit lane, another update from Rob Howden.
Yeah, guys, no fun today for Dalton Kellett. They're actually going to bring that car back in. You saw the in-car. It was a handful. They're expecting something wrong with the car, actually damaged suspension. In fact, they'll bring him in here right now. They're going to go to work looking at the back of that car. They'll, of course, look at all the suspension, look at all the toe links, all the A-arms. Everything looks good from where I am here, guys. But again, Dalton complaining of a car. You guys saw it on the in-car camera. Definitely a handful for Dalton at number 28.
pit reporter's been a little busy today so far, Davey Hamilton.
Hey, for a series that has no pit stops, they've been a little bit too busy.
With the issues for Dalton Kellett, the one hope for the Canadian fans, Davey, is that driver, the number 13, Zachary Clayman DeMello, has already been to victory lane once this year, and he's cleared the 5 of Urrutia, starting to stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah, you know, right now he's got his rhythm going. They have a nice gap between him, Urrutia, and Hurtis. So far, clean sailing, not really any pressure right there.
Got a report from Rob Houghton that the 28 car was deemed okay by the crew, so they're going to send Dalton Kellett back out onto the racetrack. Let's pick up a pretty nice battle as things have settled down in the top 5. It's for 7th position, Jake Query, and Ready Autosports' Ryan Norman trying to hold off Nico DePero.
And I'll tell you what, Norman actually had Dalton Kellett when he cycled back in, running with him for quite some time there. He has since distanced himself from that, has Kellett actually, but now DePero is right on the rear wing of that 48. As a matter of fact, it looks like he's trying to stalk him in into turn number 4.
Pedrojita leads this group in a battle for 6. Norman, the last time by, the back end really went wide as now Dalton Kellett tries to get clear of this battle. But Norman, the last circuit, really went wide. That allowed DePero to make up a little ground. So yeah, Nick, that battle for 7th heating up here today.
Hasn't been a good day for Dalton Kellett, Davey, but did the smart thing there to move over to let those guys battle?
Yeah, absolutely. Just let him go. He's actually 1 lap, 2 laps down at this point. So no sense fighting with the guys running for position.
And as a race car driver, I mean, those things, they come around, they go around.
They come around, yeah, they'll remember it, right? So if he's ever in that position, you want to hope, or if the other guys are in that position, you hope that they remember that he pulled over for them.
19 laps to go here on the streets of Toronto. We are watching that battle for 7th. Ryan Norman got about a 3 or 4 car length advantage to that Yukos car. Nico DePero stalking him, Jake, into turn 3.
Yep, DePero gonna swing it wide coming off of turn number 2, but can't close before they get to 3. So Norman closes that door. Oh, Norman got really loose. DePero couldn't take advantage. That 48 got sideways.
And Norman loose a couple of laps ago, and loose as well here. Now DePero is all over the backside of Ryan Norman through turn 6.
Davey, I about fell out of my chair.
Wow.
Ryan Norman's car is about as sideways as you could possibly get.
That was, yeah, he all but lost that car, but saying that is, he blocked the track, so DePero couldn't get by him. I mean, he slowed up from hitting the side of him, but wow, Norman definitely has a sideways car. He's got to be cautious right now, knowing his car's super loose, so I foresee that spot going away here.
Yeah, DePero closed up really tight through the S's portion of this racetrack near pit lane. He's going to close within about a couple car lengths as they run into turn number 1. Not close enough to make a move, but DePero clearly has the faster car. These drivers roaring out of turn number 2. This is a great battle for the 7th position. Ryan Norman is holding on to it, Jake, but it may just be a matter of time for Nico DePero.
DePero getting a view of every angle of Ryan Norman's machine. Once again is going to try to swing it to the outside. Now he is almost side by side. Again, Norman able to hold him off.
And he's probably going to be able to hold him off through turn 5 as well as they go single file, nose to tail through this area. And Nick, further up the grid, I'm not so sure that Colton Hurd is making up a little ground on Santi Urrutia. He might be thinking podium finish here today.
Let's go to pit lane, get an update from Rob Houghton.
Yeah, guys, I had a chance to talk to Kyle Kaiser, who obviously leads this race comfortably. Before the race, I said to him, what's the strategy? What do you need to do? He said, I have a fantastic race car. I know it's going to be good. It was obviously qualified well. Remember to race well. He goes, the only thing I'm worried about is that 1.5 second gap. He just wanted to get away from the push to pass. We know that long run down the straightaway, perfect for the offensive push to pass program that we have, the 50 extra horsepower. All he was worried about, if I'm 1.5 seconds up, if they can't push to pass me, I'm going to be good to go.
That was a good pickup by Dave First as Colton Hurd actually just set the fastest lap of the race. That battle for 7th not going away. Ryan Norman in that orange and black car. Nico DePero in green, white, and orange. Headed to you, Jake Query.
It's like deja vu all over again, but this time DePero not able to get side by side as they work their way through turn number 3. It's a 1 car length advantage for Ryan Norman.
Cooper tire signage to drivers left here as they pass through turn 5, nose to tail, single file. Ryan Norman trying to keep those tires underneath him. Tire conservation becoming an issue here today.
Davey, is this the perfect example of how frustrating it can be to be just a little bit faster than a guy, but not fast enough and not enough spots around a track like this to make the
Well, here's the key thing. He's not fast enough in the passing zone, which that is that coming off of turn 2, going down to turn 3. You have to carry a lot of momentum. For whatever reason, DePero cannot not get off at turn 2 like he needs to really challenge him in the best passing spot of the circuit, turn 3.
Boy, he does close up so tight, though, through the S's and pit lane, though.
But Norman, you know, he may be playing it kind of smart, knowing that there's no passing zone. They're just taking it easy on his car through there. Norman does get just a little bit sideways coming off at turn 1. But you can see right here in turn 2, he just pulls such a big gap out over to DePero that he just can't make the move.
He is, Jake, as close as DePero can get. Not able to get alongside going into 3.
DePero, again, this time he's going to try to tuck in, and he's going to go right where Norman does. Didn't try to go on an alternate line, so Norman's still in the lead.
We'll keep an eye on that battle for 7th. Again, it is Kyle Kaiser, Zachary Clayman DeMello, Santi Urrutia, Colton Herta, and Aaron Tielitz, the top 5. Juan Pedrohita runs in 6th. Ryan Norman is 7th, trying to hold off Nicholas DePero, who runs in 8th. Garth Rickards runs in 9th, and Neil Albarico runs in the 10th spot. Let's get an update on pit lane from Jim Murphy.
I'm down here in the Juncos pit with the vicinity of both the crews for that aforementioned Nicholas DePero and our leader, Kyle Kaiser. Kyle's got a pretty good gap on the rest of the field right now. They just came over and got him and said, hey, can you get on the radio and tell Nicholas to chill out? We don't need a yellow. They're looking at the big picture for the team. They want that win. They don't want that gap going away.
Great point, Dave. That team's focused on a championship. For Kyle Kaiser, the last thing that they would need is for one of those team cars to bring out a yellow. As Dalton Kellett about tags the wall.
Comes off turn 11, gets that thing completely sideways, overcorrects. Just looks like he may have just barely skimmed that wall. Didn't do any damage to the car, and off he goes. But absolutely, if you're a teammate to Kaiser, you don't want him to lose that, by the way, 5-second lead right now that he's got with. We had on lap count. I'm at 23 laps down, I think. So 20 laps down, I'm sorry. So yeah, with 15 laps to go, you don't want to mess up your teammate.
Davey, this is as out of control as I've seen these drivers at just about anywhere all season long. What do you chalk that up to?
Well, I think a lot of it is, number one, the bumpy facility and how difficult it is to pass around here, I think is the biggest thing. And then you have to be aggressive and really tackle this racetrack. And really, turn 1, we haven't seen the pass down there yet, except on the initial start. So that tells me that the bumps down there just really dictate if you can pass down there. So really, the only passing zone on this entire facility is turn 3. So what do? You try to be off at turn 2 as fast as you can, which Norman's doing. That's where you got to get your car to the best, be able to get down on power, make it down that long straightaway before turn 3. The rest of the facility, you just kind of flop.
It is. There was a lot of narrow portions of this racetrack where, yeah, as you mentioned, if your car isn't set up perfectly, you can still maneuver it and put it in positions where you can't get past. Kyle Kaiser is your leader here as he's completing lap number 22. His lead over Zachary Clayman DeMello is 5.3 seconds. Second, third, and fourth still awful tight as Clayman DeMello's lead over Urrutia is just 1 second, and Urrutia's lead over Herta is just 0.8 of a second. As those drivers come down the front straightaway and complete another lap, they'll roar through turn number 2. Again, it's Clayman DeMello in that navy and blue car. He's got the second spot. Hold it down for now, Jake Query. Battle for third starting to pick up between Urrutia and Herta.
Now, I'll tell you what, Herta is closing all over Urrutia. As a matter of fact, he's got the faster race car, tries to take it to the outside. Urrutia holds him off through turn number 3, but it may not be long before Herta's in third.
Zachary Clayman DeMello takes a peek in his mirrors and he sees that Santi Urrutia goes wide that time through turn 5, and now here comes Colton Herta. Herta with the play here for a podium finish.
Boy, he did, Dave. He swung wide, and Urrutia nearly caught that outside wall there at the exit of turn 5. That opened the door for Colton Herta, but not enough room for Herta, Davey, to get that white and blue number 98 alongside.
Well, he's definitely fast enough to use the push-to-pass and try to take advantage of straightaway speed, which we've seen him do going into turn 3. But right now, through this tight technical section of 9, 10, 11, he loses some ground on it.
Watching those drivers snake their way down the front straightaway from the inside of the racetrack to the outside so they can master the entrance into turn number 1. Colton Herta get a little sideways with that steering wheel as they exit turn number 2. Urrutia's lead right now, Jake, it looks like it's about 5 or 6 car lengths to turn 3.
Now, I thought for sure Herta was going to be able to close in on him. Now he's going to try to dive to the bottom of the racetrack. Herta not able to make the move. Santi Urrutia is still holding him off for third.
You got to think that Herta, when he saw that he really closed up on the back of Urrutia, that he was able to make a pass at least through turn 8, but things have settled back down now. And call it a 2-car length advantage for second place, or third place rather, Rutia over Colton Herta.
12 laps to go here on the streets of Exhibition Place in Toronto, Canada. Let's get an update from Rob Howden on pit lane.
Yeah, Nick, it's been an up and down weekend so far for Bilardi Auto Racing. Remember last year they were able to sweep the weekend with Felix Rosenquist, and we said if they were able to offload quick here on the streets of Toronto, they were going to challenge for race wins. Jake, back to Jake.
Alton Kellett just locked him up. I think he knew he had an issue going into turn number 3, went through the runoff area, and he just goes ahead and now tries to reverse it and get back in. But that 28 machine that's been given Dalton Kellett fits all day long through the runoff area, and I think he's decided that his day's done, guys. He just pulled it completely off the grid.
Yeah, he's actually parked that car right behind where Jake's lift is positioned. So Kellett, the Canadian, looks like his day is going to end no better, Davey, than 11th. And he had high hopes. Again, started in the second row, the outside, starting in the 4th position. And this being a home race for him, I know I've seen a lot of fans up and down the paddock that had those teal shirts on supporting Dalton.
Well, one thing I think happened, maybe a little pressure got to him. He had a little bit of bad luck too in that little jam up on the restart, but you know what? He'll refocus, he'll go to that car, and he'll probably have more determination for tomorrow's race than ever, being this is his home trip.
Rob Howden, before that incident, you were talking about Bilardi Auto Racing. We're watching Santi Urrutia. He's really the last Bilardi hope here today, trying to hold on to a spot on the podium.
He's definitely wheeling the car, and that's kind of what I was trying to say. They came in with high hopes, and you know, Nick, you and I did that opening practice session from the booth. They unloaded very well. They were in the top 5, all 3 drivers, but they went the wrong way in qualifying, and they knew it. Those cars were not as quick as they wanted to. They just went the wrong way. They're doing whatever they can to battle back. You can see they've been able to find some more speed. Urrutia running in 3rd, and of course, Aaron Tielitz running in that 5th spot. Pretty decent run so far for these guys here. They try to claw back to the setup that they had when we rolled off the trailer for practice on Friday morning.
Yeah, quick question for Davey Hamilton. I'm watching Aaron Tielitz and Juan Piedrahita make their way through this 1.7-mile layout. This race course, Davey, is so tight where there are times when they'll turn a corner and not see anyone in front. I wonder, at least when it comes to concentration, how do you keep that when you don't even see a car behind you or in front of you, but the race continues?
You know, that's a key point as well. You know, this track is definitely a street course, although it's through the streets of the park here, but it's so hard to see over the walls and to see the next car in front of you. The only plus you have is the front straightaway and that long back straightaway into turn 3, and you try to keep your focus together, saying, I got to chase this guy down without making mistakes, but you just, the rest of the time, you're really in the tunnel.
And that frustration and that point that Dave makes kind of sums it up for Nico Jamin, who was exiting that corner and, of course, couldn't see Lace.
Yeah, you just can't see. And you know, one thing I've watched, too, every time we see DePero, you know, making a charge on Norman, he makes that charge super hard and then starts losing ground. We've seen that right now with Herta and Urrutia. Is Urrutia starting to pull away just that little bit. Herta's really works those tires. I see smoke coming off his front tires. He's still there to charge, but just seems like he's falling back just that little bit, getting a little bit too much heat in these tires.
And can you chalk a lot of that up to the setups that they put on these race cars? Because some guys are going to want to have those cars trimmed out to handle the long straightaways.
Yeah.
And other guys want those cars pinned to the racetrack to handle the curve.
It's so key, and one thing I have to say about this particular racetrack as a driver, my key point would be get me off of turn 2 and get me down that straightaway as fast as you can. The rest of that racetrack in the race, now qualifying you have to be fast everywhere to start up front, but in the race, just make sure that you get me off of turn 2 and down that back straightaway as fast as possible, and I'll take care of the rest.
Leaders making their way through turn number 2. Got to report the battle for 6th is heating up, and it is, as we see Juan Piedrahita trying to hold off Ryan Norman, who has started to pick up. You know, we saw Nicholas DePero challenge him quite a bit, Davey, and now all of a sudden Piedrahita's under the fire as Norman's found some speed.
Well, that's two things. DePero, the team asked him to back up just a little bit, but as I said, he charged, and then all of a sudden I think they just overheat their tires and just wear the cars out just a little bit more. You know, obviously you have to take care of these tires on this facility. But then, you know, this is a very physical racetrack as well, with all the bumps and the turning. You're constantly, right now, Norman trying to look at the outside of Piedrahita right now, but doesn't get it done down in turn 3.
Here comes that battle for 6th. Dave first into turn 5.
Ryan Norman took a peek to the inside of Pedrohita, thought better of it as they make their way through turn 5. I got to think Pedrohita, not too long ago, was driving all by himself, and perhaps that little concentration we were talking about, Davey, played a factor in all of that, because the next thing he knows, he looks at his mirrors, and it's full of Ryan Norman.
You know, and that's one thing, when you have mirrors in race cars, you can't help but to look at them every now and then, right? And so anytime that you do that, and you see a car right behind you, it does put you in that defense mode, and every time you're in defense mode, you're prone to make mistakes, unless you're Scott Dixon, I think, but in the IndyCar series, but you're prone to make mistakes with that car right behind you, and I think that's what we see right now with Pedrohita. He's trying to play offense and stay going, but you just can't help but to glance and see where that guy is behind you.
It is 6th, 7th, and 8th, Jake Query, led by Juan Pedrohita down the backstretch, headed to 3.
I thought for sure Pedrohita might give up that position the last time by, but how many times have I said that? Now he finally does. Norman sweeps to the outside. No, Pedrohita can hold him up. They're going to go side by side. Norman ran out of real estate, and DePero got up on both.
Tough to pass through turns 4 and 5 as they go single file through there. It's Pedrohita, Norman, DePero in that battle for 6th.
Boy, Davey, you're allowed to hold that inside line headed down to turn 3 because that is the preferred groove to the inside. That makes that race around the outside awful tough to pull off.
You know, here's the tricky part for these officials to watch. If you can't keep that inside line, as you said, you can use that not so much as a blocker, but as long as you stay in that line, that's your line. A guy comes on the outside of you, but when you get down to turn 3, it's a long ways around that corner, and it's always that question, does the guy on the inside need to leave some outside room, or is it okay for him to block, which obviously we've seen Pedrohita do to Norman.
6 laps to go. It is still Kyle Kaiser over Zachary Clayman DeMello, Santi Urrutia, and Colton Herta. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th has stayed pretty tight, but no change. Been watching that battle for 6th, though. Juan Pedrohita. Does Ryan Norman have anything for him, Jake, heading to turn 3 once again?
Okay, we're going to try this all over again. Again, Norman pops to the outside, can't close, pops a second time. DePero follows him. Pedrohita able to hold him off again through 3.
Norman's best finish this season, a pair of 7ths, and that's where he is right now. Now to the inside, Juan Pedrohita, but now he gets back in line. Pedrohita still leads that group through turns 7 and 8.
Pedrohita's car swung wide. That allowed Norman a groove, but Davey, as this track twists to the left and to the right, that groove for Norman quickly became the outside, and now he's got his hands full once again with DePero.
You know, I tell you, that area of the racetrack, you just normally don't see any passing through there. And I'll tell you, Paul Tracy tried to pass me in a truck down there through one time.
How'd that end?
It didn't end good for him. You know, he tried that outside lane, and they're just really, you have to lift if you're on the outside, which Norman did wisely, but that is just very tight through there.
This has just been fantastic racing mid-pack. Again, Kyle Kaiser has kind of stunk up this show as he's got a 5.5 second lead, but Jake, that doesn't mean that we haven't seen some fantastic racing and battling throughout the course of this field.
Yeah, exactly. Up front, Kyle Kaiser has been all by his lonesome, but all kinds of activity behind him. Again, Norman with Pedrohita just in front of him, DePero right there. They look like one car coming at you, Dave.
Yeah, they sure do, as all of a sudden, Norman has to check up a little bit. That allows DePero to make up a little ground. You tell you what, throw a proverbial blanket over those 3 cars. They make their way through turns 7 and 8.
And Davey, all these drivers deserve a lot of credit because as much as they're sliding around, that sets up the possibility of getting run into from behind. All of these drivers doing a great job of racing aggressively but keeping it off of each other.
Yeah, exactly. And one mistake by a guy in front of you when you're that close, you're usually into it. So these guys got to be careful, and especially DePero, being his teammate, has such a nice lead that he doesn't want to be a cause of a yellow, that's for sure.
Hey, Dave, first, how about that battle for 3rd as Colton Herta continues to stalk Santi Urrutia?
Yeah, he's all over him, but not really reeling him in, as we saw earlier. I will say this, it looked like Urrutia is all over this race course. The back end's really coming around, where Colton Herta's ride seems a little smoother, at least through this portion of the race course.
Battle for 6th, back into turn number 3.
Norman finally dispatched to Pedrohita, then he locked him up. He missed the turn altogether. DePero's able to get by him. What a disappointment for Ryan Norman. And he now, all of a sudden, is trying to get that car whipped around, and guess what? The engine just went off, and you can see through the helmet the dejection on Ryan Norman as the field passes by. He had made the move. He missed the turn. He locked him up, and Ryan Norman sits and waits now, trying to get that 48 machine back on course.
It's just a matter of time, Davey, because...
Well, it was a good pass. that's the way you're supposed to do it. He just kept on the accelerator a little too long and just couldn't get it slowed down in time. But tough place to pass, even though that's the passing zone, still very, very tough place to pass.
Yeah, this is a tough position now because with the local yellow, you can't do any passing down there into turn 3. And
it's
as
green
you mentioned,
everywhere else, and local yellow there with only 3 laps to go in this race. And Norman did get the car reversed. It does have it backed up right now. Trying to get back going again, and it'd be great, obviously. What a bummer for him. I mean, running for that position, and now he finds his way all the way back down to the 9th. It's going to be 10th before it's over.
So Ryan Norman was able to get that car refired, as Davey talked about, and the good news is we can let this battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th rage on, as Kyle Kaiser's lead is 5.1 seconds here with just a couple laps to go, 2 laps to go. In fact, Kyle Kaiser already out of turn number 2. Jake, you can pick up the leader heading you to turn number 3, but keep your eye on that battle for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, about 5 seconds behind.
Not difficult to ID that leader of Kyle Kaiser because that Juncos Racing color scheme is so familiar. White machine with green accentuation already through turn number 3. But let's keep an eye on that battle for 3rd. Clayman DeBello running in 2nd. Then Dave first. Santiarutia still has Colton Herta all over him.
Yeah, he's had his mirrors full of Colton Herta the last several laps here at Exhibition Place, and that continues as they make their way through turn 6. Once again, Urrutia's back in, comes around just a tad. Herta looks much smoother through this portion.
Yeah, Urrutia did take the wide way around turn number 6. Colton Herta slings it through turn 7. He closes to within a couple car lengths. But again, this is not a part of the racetrack where it is easy to get alongside a driver and make a pass. Out of the final corner, though, Kyle Kaiser is going to see the white flag here on the streets of Toronto. They'll rage on behind him. It has been a perfect day so far for this driver for Juncos Racing. He's entered the weekend as the points leader, and Jake Wary, he is poised to pick up his 2nd win of the season.
He has been a model of consistency, has Kyle Kaiser. He has not always finished up front, but he has certainly started races there, but he has not missed a point this entire day today. Kyle Kaiser, Dave first, coming at you into turn number 5.
Yeah, BMO Field is located to driver's right as he passes through turn 5. BMO, as mentioned earlier, the home of the Toronto Argonauts, a franchise that's seen 16 Grey Cups and a lot of alumni go on to the NFL, namely Joe Theismann. Will a win today here help send Kyle Kaiser onto the Verizon IndyCar Series one day? It looks like his day here in Toronto.
It would have been very understandable if Kyle Kaiser would have started to feel the championship pressure with Matthias Laced winning 3 of the last 4 races. If he's feeling that pressure, he hasn't shown it. Out of turn number 11, Kyle Kaiser, right fist, pump it in the air. He'll see the checkered flag. He picks up the win in race number 1 here on the streets of Toronto. Zachary Clayman DeMello scores a well-earned 2nd place finish. The Canadian will stand on the podium. Santi Urrutia holds off Colton Herta for 3rd. Herta's going to pick up a nice points day for 4th. Aaron Tielitz comes home in the 5th position.
Round 10 of 2017 goes to Kyle Kaiser. You looked like you were having fun out there, were you?
It was nice. I mean, not too much pressure from the beginning. We got out of the P2P range, which was the number 1 goal. I knew we were quick on cold tires, so from there it was just basically like a practice session, just doing laps, staying clean. It was getting pretty loose out there, but you know, we maintained the gap, and that's all that matters.
Ovals, road courses, and street courses here in Toronto. How tough is it to be fast and to be successful throughout the entire year on the Mazda Road to Indy?
It's extremely difficult. You got to be very versatile and be able to race on every type of course, and that's what you expect when you move up to the IndyCar Series. So it prepares you really well. It does everything we need to get us ready for the IndyCar.
You came in with the championship point lead. You'll head into tomorrow, round number 11, with the championship point lead. You got to be feeling pretty good right now in Toronto.
Man, if we keep winning races, then we'll have the lead for the rest of the season. So I'm going to try to keep doing this.
Solid math, Kyle. I really like the numbers on that one.
I'm a good mathematician, yeah.
You're a good mathematician, but an even better driver. Congrats, buddy, and good job here today.
Thanks, Tony.
Kyle Kaiser.